Hello, Africa. My name is Eunice Tony, and this is e.TVGhana's African Women's Voices show. It is the show that tackles issues pertaining to women as they contribute to national development. It's really amazing to meet you again on another Wednesday, Women Crush Wednesday. So, who were you crushing on today? Do you want to tell me? Okay, we'd like you to share that on our Facebook page at e.TVGhana. We'd like to hear whoever it is that you were crushing on today. And remember, we always say that you need to be able to tell that woman something really nice if you are crushing on her, okay? Last week, we discussed something that was really exciting. We had Lorraine from NAFTI, and we had a representative from NAFTI as well, and they were talking about how you can monetize your content. So have you started putting together the content that you're going to sell and make yourself richer than you are right now? If you haven't, please visit our YouTube page or our Facebook page, and you get to see the steps you need to follow to be able to monetize your content. So this show is proudly brought to you by very wonderful brands, and I'd like to acknowledge them. First on the list, as usual, is Voltic. Voltic says naturally. It should come naturally to you whenever you feel thirsty and dehydrated. You need to grab your Voltic, especially in these times that we've got the virus all over. You need to keep yourself hydrated naturally with Voltic. The beautiful thing about Voltic is that it's environmentally friendly. So they say that whenever you take your Voltic, just do not dump it anywhere on the streets of Ghana. Go to the designated bins and just drop them there. If you have a bag, please put it in your bag. When you get to your destination, you drop it nicely. We need to keep Ghana clean. Another sponsor of ours that we're really proud of is Chana Sheto. Chana Sheto is Ghana's #1 pepper sauce. If you have not tried Chana Sheto, then you are yet to try the best of the best shetos, the best of the best pepper sauces in Ghana. Okay, you need to try it with fried egg, try it with plain rice, or angwamo, as we call it traditionally here in Ghana. Or you can even put a little bit of it in your light soup. It will really taste so nice. So grab your Chana Sheto in the nearest supermarket, okay? Another sponsor that I'd like to acknowledge is Lizzie's Tomato Paste. And it says, Lizzie's Tomato Mix is a perfect blend of finest tomatoes, and it gives your meals a great taste. Prepare all your dishes with Lizzie Tomato Mix, especially your jollof, stew, groundnut soup, etc. Lizzie Tomato Mix is all you need to make your food delicious. For bulk purchase, kindly call 050-140-1085 or 033-2095-314. So that's a beautiful message from Liz's Tomato Mix. And I am beautifully clothed by Afariwa Styles. You can locate Afariwa Styles at Osu or at the Teshi Road at the container bus stop. Good thing about Afariwa Styles is that when it comes to contemporary ladies and gents outfits, you need to think Afariwa Styles. You can also find her on Facebook and Instagram on afariwa.styles. Her phone number is also right now at the base of your screen. You need to give her a call. She has also gotten gift vouchers that has made gifting very, very easy. This is not the time when you have to think about what color, what style you need to get for that loved one. Give the person an Afariwa Styles gift voucher, and the person will be very happy you did. Thank you very much to all our sponsors, and we are calling on many more to come on board because this program actually sells your products, okay? So right now, I'm going to be linking you up to the 60 seconds update where we tell you what's going on with women in Ghana, Africa, and the world. As soon as we return, I'll be introducing my guest to you, and she's somebody a lot of people really want to hear from. So do stay tuned. We will be right back.
Girls Not Brides, GNB Ghana, a national network of non-governmental organizations into eradicating child marriages, has renewed calls for protection of girls in the society amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Mrs. Gertrude Eunice Masodong, national chairperson of GNB, who made the call during its annual AGM in Cape Coast, appealed to all stakeholders into girls' welfare to complement efforts by governments and NGOs in combating child marriages. Mrs. Masodong said COVID-19 with its associated consequences had been detrimental to the progress made in reducing child marriages in Ghana, but more support from all, particularly religious and traditional rulers, will help to significantly reverse the trend. Staff of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, as well as agencies under the ministry, are wearing sad mood as they go on about their duties, with anxiety over rumors that Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison might not return to the ministry as the sector minister. Some staff who spoke to the media on condition of anonymity stated that Honorable Cynthia Morrison has done very well to keep the ministry. She has turned the ministry positively. It is, however, unclear who would be given the opportunity to serve as the gender minister. Honorable Cynthia Morrison replaced the then former National Women's Organizer of the party, Otiko Afisa Jaba, in September 2018. Gospel singer Celestine Donko says it is unfortunate her new single, Thank You, has attracted lots of backlash from people. According to her, some of the comments that have come in following this feature defeats the purpose of the gospel. She said, "It is rather very disappointing that at this time and age, people still carry such primitive way of thinking. This should be a concern to the church fraternity and the leadership of the church body." Her comment comes after some people in the gospel fraternity raised objectives to her song, Thank You. Many people claimed Afia and Akwabwa are not associated with the gospel music and thus should not have been featured.
And you're welcome back to e.TVGhana's African Women's Voices show, the show that tackles with issues pertaining to women as they contribute to national development. I'm about to introduce my guest to you, but I'd like you to know that on today's show, we are going to discuss how to manage the mixed feelings around school reopening. The issue has raised concerns among stakeholders in the business community, schools, and even working parents, especially mothers, are worried about the safety of their children amidst the current surge in COVID-19. Well, my guest today is a human capital strategist with over 25 years of experience in HR leadership roles, perfecting potentials and growing business. Okay, she's passionate about people and has worked extensively across Europe and Africa, impacting many organizations through innovative thinking and strategies. She nurtures high-impact leaders as a coach and also mentors up-and-coming HR professionals. Wow, I'm so delighted to have her. She also is the founder of Carving Clay People Development, a Pan-African HR consulting boutique firm. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I make welcome Irene Asari. Let the drum roll. We're all happy and excited to have you in here, Irene.
Eunice, you're making me laugh already. Thank you so much for having me.
You have no idea how many phone calls we had to receive today. Once we put the post up that you were the one coming, we got calls from across Africa and even beyond Africa. They're like, Irene Asari is coming. Is it going to be showing on Facebook Live? And we said yes. And right now it's streaming. So
fantastic.
I'm very sure that most of them who made the call are watching us right now. Hello to you all.
Yes, hi.
Yes,
thanks so much.
Irene is actually here as we promoted. Okay, so you're very welcome once again.
Thanks so much. Eunice.
All right, so just to get everyone to understand, you know, what we're going to discuss today, I'd like us to just step back a little bit and explain who, you know, a human capital strategist is.
Yes, certainly. Thank you. And I knew you were going to ask this question and everybody else is thinking, what's a human capital strategist? And the way I like to describe it is this. You know, we talk about human resources, but I'm interested as a strategist on the progression and the development, the vision of human resources. What I mean by that is now we need to look at, when we talk about transforming organizations, making those changes, I'm looking at talent management, I'm looking at succession planning, I'm looking at human resources from a perspective of change, transformation, preparing HR for the future of work. We're in a very different environment now. Things are changing around people management, human resource management, and I'm talking about the future and preparing human resources for that future, the way in which we manage our employees, the way in which we manage ourselves, and looking at the strategies and the initiatives behind that.
Okay, so what makes you different from an HR person? So is the strategist and an HR person the same?
Yes, so it's different. So the core of my role is human resources, for sure. What I would say with an HR person on a day-to-day basis, we're concerned about contracts, we're concerned about the here and now, the employee relations, what's going to happen. As strategist, I'm talking about looking further forward. I'm talking about preparing an organization for change. So for example, we want to be profitable, we want to be performance-driven. I'm talking about initiatives and strategies that prepare that organization to go through that change, that transformation, to be that best organization or be that best person. So that's the difference there.
I really like the fact that you're talking about how the strategist prepares people for the change.
Yes.
Because there's actually a change going on in the country right now, and that has to
Absolutely.
do with the fact that COVID struck the world, Ghana inclusive, and for some time our school children had to stay home. But in recent times, the president announced that children can now go back to school. And we have a lot of mixed feelings.
We do.
People are really not prepared for this change that is coming their way.
We do.
So it means that you're in good hands. We have somebody who can at least suggest to us and, you know, tell us possible ways we can manage the situation.
Sure.
So we are having this show today because we received a video from one of you, and we like it when you engage with us. One of you sent us a video and made a request, and that's why today's show is actually coming up. So please, if you can play that footage from Mrs. Gifty Mensah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Gifty. Mrs. Gifty Mensah. Actually, I have a little problem, a little challenge with our kids going back to school. It's good they are going back to school, but looking at the cases at hand, each and every day the cases are going up. A day we can record cases like 200 and over a day. Then looking at the children below 5 years, which they can't wear nose masks. Actually, as a mother, I'm a little bit scared. And I don't even know what to say, but I think if the government can do something about this, it will help, because the cases are just rising, going up each and every day. And I know the children have stayed home for a very long time. And I think it's better we save our kids than they going back to school. Because the teachers have gone back to school, which they've stayed in the house for a very long time. We don't know. The teachers have not been tested. And we don't know whether they have the COVID or not. And here is the kids, they are going to sit with the kids in class. Even though they are going to observe the protocols. But how are we sure that our kids are safe in their hands? Mrs., please, on your show, if you guys can discuss about how best our children will be safe in school, I'll be much happy. I'll be very glad to hear the comments of people and the advice your panelists will be giving to us, the parents, for us to know what to do. This is just a little thing I want to say this morning. I'm at the office right now.
Welcome back, Gifty. We really appreciate your concern. We saw your video and we realized that we have to follow up on the video and get you someone who can give you the suggestions and also prepare you for the change that is ahead. So if you are in Gifty's shoes, please move closer to your TV set as we continue with the conversation. So that's one of the mixed feelings. We also have other parents who have also spoken. So my question to you now is, how would you say that somebody like Gifty should, you know, try to manage the situation right now as she's feeling?
Sure. So, Gifty, if you're out there, is a fantastic question to bring to us. Really, really important, as you've said, Eunice. And I'm a parent myself, so I absolutely put myself in her shoes and sympathise. And we're all going through this together, Eunice. So my advice is this. If we take ourselves a little bit back to when we first started to hear about the pandemic, and we were all anxious and we had a lot of anxiety. And we managed to kind of get through that period with communication, with some clear instructions, some initiatives that we put in place. I think that we're at the point now where we need to do the same, because there are various stages of this pandemic, right? We went through first wave, as we call it. In some sense, we're going through a second wave. Who knows what the future will hold? And we knew at that time we had to stay at home, and that was very different for us.
Yes.
Now what we're saying is, okay, kids have been at home for a while, it's time to go back. It's very unfortunate the time that we're also thinking about doing that as cases are going up, and this is what we're living with. So I think that there are a couple of things that I would say to Gifty. This is a point where you really do need to engage with your school. Because what I know is many schools have started to engage with parents around what is their strategy around school opening. I think it's safe to say it doesn't mean that because President has said we open now, that we all go back tomorrow without a plan. I think a lot of education institutions have been sitting there for many, many months thinking and strategizing with their teachers, their governors, as well as the school, the PTA, and they've all been involved. So the first port of call for Gifty is, what is your school doing? What is the initiative that they've put in place? Have they communicated with you? Usually first call is email. The reopening plan is this. We will be fumigating every so often. We will have to ensure that children wear their mask. We will take a temperature check at the entrance. We will ensure that if children find themselves unwell or high temperature, they're to report to a nurse or whatever in the school. There are certain protocol steps that each school, I'm sure, will be taking. And it is up to us as parents to really interrogate those plans, really be sure that we are comfortable with the process. I think it's also safe to say, Eunice, at this point, we all know, listening in at the moment, it is not 100% foolproof plan. We have no cure at the moment. We have vaccines rolled out in other countries. It's in its very infant stages. But I would say to individuals, we need to satisfy ourselves firstly that the school is doing everything that they can within their power to do so. And then the second element is us. What are we doing at home? What have we done so far? By this stage, we're telling our children to wash their hands regularly. We're increasing hygiene. We're ensuring that they know the importance of the mask. It can't obviously stop a level of contact. Children are young, particularly under 5. Mask is somewhere, I don't know where it is. They've hugged their friends. I think at this point, we can only communicate and educate our parents.
Thank you very much.
And our
so
children.
We'll be coming back to you very soon because we need to go for a quick commercial break. But I'd like to reiterate that she has mentioned that we need to be able to engage our schools and then interrogate the whole process. We know that, well, typically here, if you interrogate too much, everybody feels like you're a busybody or you're too known. Well, if you have to save the life of your child by interrogating the whole process, please go ahead and interrogate until you're satisfied within that, okay, at least to this point, I can say I can let my child go to school. So a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. Do not go away. And you're welcome back to the show. If you just read the health tip, the question is, if you have contracted the virus and you did not tell your fellow or your colleagues that you've contracted it and they got in contact with you because you were not following the safety protocols, this colleague of yours who came in contact with you also was not following the safety protocol, so himself and the entire family have gotten the virus. Should they send you the bill? So we need to protect each other. That's why wearing the mask is something that we all need to ensure it happens. It's not comfortable, but we all have to do that. I'd like us to take a look at what the Ministry of Health is saying about the numbers. Maybe when you get to see the numbers, you'd appreciate the situation as it is right now. Let's take a look at the numbers. Are 366, and so far the deaths stand at 358. It means the cases keep increasing, and this is not a good situation. And I want to believe that a whole lot of us are not looking forward to another lockdown. So let's just adhere to the protocols, and we may somehow not get to that point. All right, so I'd like us to take another footage from a concerned parent. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the mixed feelings, in the resumption of schools. So let's take the second footage from a parent.
School reopening, actually, I would say that it's actually a blessing that they should open school. It's very good for them to open school, but you need to also check and know very well that how well are the protocols being observed, because little kids, as you already know, just yesterday something flashed my ear saying that when a little kid goes to school and sees his friends' face masks very nicer than his is, he will be like, oh, let me see your face mask and all that. So I was like, yes, fine, it's good for us to go back to school because teachers need to teach us. Some people are still home, jobless, especially the people teachers. But you also have to ask yourself that what are the students also doing? They are home, they are not learning, they are not doing anything. Maybe doing an online teaching, it's not that much effective like having a teacher, students in a classroom doing that teaching. So I would say that yes, it is good, but to my side, it hasn't been the best because of the safety protocols that hasn't been well put in place for our kids and our teachers going back to school.
Right, so that's also another footage from a concerned parent, and his major concern is that he feels like the safety protocols have not really been put in place for both the children and the teachers. So this is where Irene comes in again. The previous footage we also watched, we had a concern around teachers as well, where the parent was concerned about the fact that the teacher is likely to have contacted the virus, and because they've been home for a very long time, so she does not feel that it's safe for her children to be around the teachers. And I'm very sure that the teachers themselves too are also not feeling comfortable because one, they are also parents as well, they've also got emotions. However, they need to be with these children and even get to teach them. So what would you say the school as an organization should be able to do for teachers to also get them to also kind of understand the situation and deal with it and manage it better?
Yeah, I think it's, these are really excellent points that are being raised. And I think firstly, we can also sympathise with the teachers, can't we? I was saying to myself, we've now put them in the front line, right?
That is true.
In terms of how they now need to kind of come into work and they're faced with this risk. As an employer, as an organisation, it is the organisation's job to ensure that you eliminate risk as much as you can. But let's also remember the virus. There is no 100% kind of cure or risk-free measure. But what can we do? I think organisations, again, need to gather their teachers, their support staff, all of their staff, and we need to begin a process, Eunice, where we should have been doing this for the last couple of weeks, I'm sure, where we gather our employees and we have the conversation about we're about to go back into the classroom. The virus hasn't gone, and therefore we need to prepare ourselves. What is the plan that we've put in place to ensure that, one, we are protecting our teachers, our employees, and two, that we're also protecting our children that we are coming to teach. it is important, I think your viewer said about we're not observing the safety protocols. Now, we need to do that. So an organisation needs to ensure that these protocols are observed, particularly from the teaching staff and the support staff, making sure that, you know, again, they get temperature checked, making sure that if teachers feel unwell, that they do not attend school in any measure. This is not, oh, I don't feel so well, but because of my students, I need to come in. They need to stay away. They need to report if they feel that they have any of the symptoms. They need to report that to their employer immediately, and they need to go and get tested. So I think at this point, one of the big key messages is protocols are there for a reason. They are there to protect both the teachers at this point and our children as well.
Sure.
And it is important as organizations and employers that that is strictly observed. And we can't say that enough. I've seen over the last few weeks, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Eunice, we're still not adhering to wearing masks. You know, we're being lax about our sanitation in terms of our hand sanitizers or our washing our hands and all of those things. All of those measures need to be clearly put in place, and teachers need to observe those protocols. Now, by the mere fact that both teachers and children do that, maybe we stand a chance of actually fighting this virus. It is also very difficult for young children, as we know, and the viewer rightly said, oh, come and look at my mask and I've dropped it. You know, the children are children. There's not much we can do about that. We can only keep reinforcing, keeping an eye, making sure they, you know, every frequently, maybe there's competitions you do in the classroom around how many times have you washed your hands today?
Okay.
And certain practical elements so that we incorporate this as part of our everyday life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think this brings me to the discussion around job loss, because right now children are having to go back to school. It means school fees will have to be paid. And here is the case that some parents probably were, you know, laid off or they lost their jobs. So they are dealing with a whole lot. Now that children have to go back to school, they are anxious about the safety, and financially they are also not really that prepared because they got laid off. So how would you say that maybe some kind of compensation, you know, how would you say that such people should be treated?
It's a tough one, Eunice, because you're in this cycle at the moment where everybody can see that we're in a pandemic. Business owners are saying that we're not making as much as we used to make. There are particular industries that have been completely affected, hospitality to name one, that has been completely impacted. And organizations can only pay if they're making business. And
That's
therefore,
true.
at the moment, we're not making business. So what does a business owner do? Equally, what does that mean for a parent or an employee who's in that situation? It is important that if you're an employee of an organization, you have an employment contract.
Yes.
And you will have to be guided by that employment contract. Everybody's employment contract will be different, but we need to ensure that we adhere ourselves to the law. Some organizations say that if you're impacted and I have to make you redundant, then I will have to pay you whatever the clauses are for that redundancy, or I have to give you notice. And a good employer will ensure that they carry that through. If not, they'll go to a labour court and labour commission to deal with that. When you have scenarios, you might say to me, but Irene, what about scenarios where I cannot afford to pay, and therefore I'm the employee and I'm left with nothing? That's where you have to enter into a conversation, and the organisation has to be able to demonstrate that that truly is the case. You either come to an arrangement about what that compensation package is or what notice period is, or that gets escalated legally. What does that mean? That doesn't help me today, right? Because I have a situation today. How do I face that situation where I'm not compensated? This is where things become very, very tough, and we have to be innovative as individuals around what other sources of income we can generate whilst we're out of work. So the reality is job losses, unfortunately, many of people have experienced job losses. Maybe people are living off of their savings, but guess what? 2021 is here now. My savings have now run out. It is time for that side hustle that you were thinking about is your main hustle.
Okay.
Your source of income that you were receiving before is no longer available. You need to think very quickly about other avenues of, generating income in the right way to be able to ensure your survival.
Splendid.
Yeah.
So viewers, we are going for another quick commercial break. The conversation has gotten really exciting, and I know that a lot of you have been beeping on our Facebook page with your comments. When we return, I'll also address those comments, okay? So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. And you're welcome back to e.TVGhana's African Women's Voices show. We're discussing the mixed feelings around school resumption. How do we manage it? And we have an expert here, a human capital strategist, who is helping us prepare for the change that has come to stay with us. Okay, so Facebook friends, we are here, and I can see a lot of waves. So many of you are, trying to let us know that you're watching. I see a wave from Bill. You're waving at us from the United Kingdom. We see a wave from Shania. You're waving at us from Japan. I'm seeing a wave from Abraham. You're sending us a wave from Bangkok. Okay, so let me read a comment from Kay. Kay says, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. He said it like 3 times. Irene Asari never disappoints. I also have another message from Kobe Edu Tutu. He says, very important to engage the schools to know the protocols. Thanks for this, Irene Asari. I also have another message from Mamia Bina. She says, wow, Irene Asari, where have you been? My bosses really need to talk to you because all what you're saying here is not happening at my place of work.
Dear.
So I really need you to come to my place of work. Okay, you can always reach out to Irene Asari and she'll come over to your office. If you go on her Facebook page at Irene Asari, she's there, and then you can engage her as you want. I also have a message from Charles Solomon, and he says, wow, I think the government needs to engage with Irene Asari. She's got the strategies that they are supposed to be implementing. All right, so we've got other messages here that we cannot read right now, but as time goes on, we'll keep updating. So it looks like the fans are here for Irene and across the globe as well.
Excellent.
Okay, I see someone from Cameroon. He says, you need to read my message this time. I keep sending messages and you don't read it, but I really like your woman, Irene. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, from Cameroon. His name is Hassan. So
Hassan,
yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right, so we continue with our conversation. We were talking about the compensation for people who probably have been laid off work and also have to battle with the resumption of school because they need to do stuff. So just before we left, Irene was suggesting that that side hustle of yours, this is the time to make it come alive.
Definitely.
Usually in your contract, there's a discussion around your package, and a responsible employer is going to see to it that the package is well, packaged for you. So if you are an employer, be responsible. Irene says a responsible employer is going to ensure. So if you're not acting accordingly, you really need to do that. Otherwise, your people will be sending us messages and calling that that she comes to their workplaces. All right, Irene, so let's proceed. I'm going to say, can you share some pointers on how best to manage the transition process? Having stayed at home and now we're having to go back to school, what pointers would you want to share with us to see how best we can manage this transition, this change that has come to be with us?
So what I would say, Eunice, first of all, thank you again for the question, is let's mentally prepare ourselves. We often, first of all, as individuals, we probably panic.
Okay.
Because you're like, the reality is, again, when we first heard about the pandemic, we were concerned. We've adjusted, we've got into a routine. We don't necessarily like the routine, but we've gone into it. Now, there's change again. And we know as human beings, we generally don't like change. So we need to take our time to process we're about to go through another change process. And how do we do that? My advice is if we choose to resist, panic, push back, it makes it more difficult for us. The reality is we need to have a plan in place. If nothing of what I've been saying in our conversation is, we need to plan for it. So we need to sit down and really think about what are the steps that we actually need to take. Am I clear on what schools are going to do with my child? Am I clear and am I happy with all the protocols that they've said in place? Am I satisfied? If I am, tick, okay, I feel that the school has done everything that it can possibly do. Am I satisfied that the teachers are well prepared for this as well? Fine. Now I come to my child and my children and my household. Am I comfortable and am I prepared to, how does my child get to school? You know, there are conversations that are going on at the moment, and we know that some children use public transport. And we're very concerned with that because we see in public transport that we're not using the mask, we're not following the protocol.
True.
What do I do about that as a parent? I can remain in a panic-stricken place where, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's not going to change the situation. You either need to decide, will I take other measures? And is there a cost implication in that other measure? Do I ensure that actually I give my child sanitizer and they're wearing gloves, and so that they can still go to school? So it's important that as we go through that transition process, we tick off. I suggest you get a pen and paper. You sit down and say, right, this is the transition process. Tick. I'm satisfied with the school and what they can do to a reasonable extent. I've sat down and I've had many conversations with my child, and I've worked through scenarios. If my child says, Mom, I'm anxious about this, I don't know what to do about this, what do I do? You sit down, you have a discussion. What happens? What even happens if that transition takes place, Eunice, and you find yourself in a situation where your child could even fall sick? They may not even have COVID, but they could be sick. What are the precautions you're going to take? It's important now that we need to play out these scenarios and prepare ourselves. I think that it's safe to say that when we are prepared, we at least deal with the situation better. Nobody wants a negative situation, but we must sit down and plan. So pen and paper, tick all of the steps. When you've satisfied those steps, even though we all are not happy with the situation, at least you know I have thought through this well enough, and then I can make an informed decision about my child will go back to school and I'm comfortable, or actually at the moment, if there is an option to homeschool my child, I will homeschool my child. For example, I was talking to a friend this week, and you know, I know that there are some parents considering, I'm not comfortable with how the school is managing this situation. Maybe I need to find other alternative measures. I think this is the time we need to really sit down and try to be unemotional. It's our children, so how can I even say that? We're very emotional about our children. But at this point, let's be practical, work through the steps, and then you can make an informed decision about the way forward.
Okay, so in other words, it's true that you can be anxious, but try and be practical. It's happening. The president says the children are going to school, and that's what it is. So the whole conversation right now is, so what do we do? How do we transition? You know, so that's what we're talking about right now. And she said the tips, and they are quite insightful. So I'll be going for another commercial break, which is the final one. When I return, we will be going to the phone lines. So if you have any question around school resumption and you still have some kind of feelings that you're not really satisfied with, you can ask the question when we open the phone lines right after now. So do stay tuned. Welcome back to e.TVGhana's African Women's Voices show. I see you, Okereke Gloria. You're also giving us a wave and you're watching us from the United Kingdom. We see you, Prakash. Prakash, you're in India and you say you're watching with your family. All right. Okay, we see Rita Nzelu. You are also watching us from Nigeria. We see you, Frances. Frances is watching from Togo. Thank you very much for joining in. I see a whole lot of other people here, but well, we'll still get on with the show, and we'll acknowledge you as time goes on. Okay. So please, we've got the phone lines activated right now, and if you have any question you'd like to ask Irene, please feel free to actually ask the question. Okay. And then I'd like to play the final footage from a concerned parent, because we are really, really keen on ensuring that everyone who has tried to contribute to the show today is acknowledged. So we have to play this video right now. So let's go there.
Well, I, for one, as a parent, I think school resumption now, it's a bit scary, because looking at the age of the kids that they are letting them go back to school, and this news of rising numbers of COVID, I think it's not the best. I'm so scared for my children, but I have no option than to let them go. So if there is something that the government can do about it, I think we parents will be very grateful.
If there's something the government can do, we parents will be happy. That is the music of every parent. And government, well, we throw it to you to find more solutions. However, Irene has also given us some kind of tips on how to transition as this change has come to stay with us, and it's going to be here for quite a while. So Irene, since this is a women's program and we always want to ensure that women, you know, are at the heart of the conversation, we would like you to say something to women, particularly who may have lost their jobs even in this time and have to deal with the job loss and also having their children go back to school.
I know. It's tough, isn't it? It's really, really tough. And I understand, and I myself started my business as Carving Clay People Development post, you know, in the COVID era. So first of all, I would like to say to women that let's see this as an opportunity. It's easy for me to say this, it sounds so cliche, but honestly, this is the time to stop. I've met so many women that have said, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, or I've got the side hustle and I'm trying to manage both, or I really want to go to school, or I really want to learn. We couldn't predict that this would happen, that a job loss would come. But what we can do is use every opportunity that is thrown in front of us and change it for us. A lot of women, sometimes we need to find ourselves in situations before we take action. Because on a normal day-to-day basis, we're busy at home, at work, we're wearing so many hats. Please, let's use this opportunity wisely. Right? There's a time, and there's probably a reason why. And sometimes we can't always understand what that reason is. But what we can do is use the time to our benefit, to grow, to develop ourselves as women. You know, I believe a lot, as you know, I'm a coach, so investing in yourself. A lot of the time I meet women that I'm at a crisis in my career, Irene. I don't know which way to turn. I don't know what to do. I need to talk to someone. Invest in getting that coach that's going to help you through this time, to walk through the steps, to make a plan, a practical plan, to give you advice to help you along the way. If it is that side hustle that you're doing, that's now your main hustle. Turn that into a business venture. Go and do your research. Is your product and service viable? Will it go into the market? What's the pricing? What's the financial implication? What's the marketing? This is the time to put the weight behind what you're doing. Don't get me wrong. There is a process and a time to grieve. It's natural, it's normal. You've lost a job that you were not expecting to lose. You find yourself, you're asking yourself, am I worthy? Am I skilled? Will anyone want me? This is very natural. But the important part in this is you don't stay in that space for a prolonged period of time, because that state of mind is not the state of mind that is going to help you move on. We want to have stories where people have found themselves in these difficult situations. They've had an idea, they've changed their life around, and they've changed it for the better, and they've continued to support and grow and be passionate about what they do. And I speak specifically to women because I find that we take longer to pick ourselves up. We beat ourselves up for a longer period of time. We think that we're not worthy. Even when we have a job, we think we shouldn't be doing that job. This is the time now in a situation like this to turn it around to our advantage and to make use of it. Invest in yourself and your skills.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me go to the Facebook page because it seems like it's actually jammed right now. A lot of people are trying to get their calls through. I see that I have a message here. Okay, actually, I think it's a commendation. Somebody says, I'm trying to get through because I really want to talk to Irene, but your phone lines are just not getting through. So tell Irene that I really would like to talk to her. Okay, so you can reach out to Irene on her Facebook page, okay, at Irene Asari. And you are calling and you are messaging us from Senegal. You said your name is Charlotte. So she's very social media friendly, actually. I've engaged on social media and the response is quite quick. So if you just try that, you definitely will be able to reach Irene. Thank you so much for being with us. And time is almost up. And well, according to what Charlotte says, she says the line is actually very jammed. And if you're able to send your message in through right now, fine, we can take care of it. But if not, please, well, you should reach out to her on social media. I have a message here from Ghana Beverage Awards, and it says that nominations are open. So Ghana Beverage Awards is actually in its 5th edition. We've organized it for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th year. It's organized by Global Media Alliance, the parent group of e.TV, Happy FM, YFM, Perception Management International. We are all under the umbrella of the GMA group. And we've organized the Beverage Awards. Yesterday, it was launched officially, and now you can go to the website www.ghanabeverageawards.com and nominate that favorite beverage of yours. If you're a company, you can also nominate your beverage brand. And then afterwards, we're going to announce when the voting process will begin for you to get to know whether you will end up winning or not. So we wish every beverage company all the best. If you need to talk to the GBA team, please do that on 020-2222-095. 020-2222-095. Okay, so we're going to have to wrap it up here right now, but the repeat edition of this particular broadcast is on Saturday at 12. So if you missed it from 8 p.m., no problem. Saturday at 12 noon, you'll get to watch the entire show again. However, if you cannot wait till Saturday, check it out on our YouTube channel tomorrow, or go on our Facebook page or on Irene Asari's Facebook page. You're going to see the entire program, and you go through it and probably get the chance to inbox her and ask her any question that you need to get through to her. Thank you so very much. We're very happy you honored this invitation.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having you around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks so much, Eunice.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure. Absolute
I don't want to forget this. You know, it happened that our head of HR, she actually told me, Irene Asari is coming on your show. Fafa, I'm sure she's watching.
Yes, hi,
you know Fafa?
Yes, I do. She was part of my HR mentoring program.
Exactly,
Fantastic.
she mentioned. And another one of my bosses at GMA, Emma Wenani, she also said, wow.
Yes. Hi, Emma. How are you all doing? It's fantastic to be here, and I look forward to coming back and having many conversations.
You definitely will be coming back.
You know, and I would definitely say for those out there that want to coach, feel free to contact me at ireneasari.com. I'm also got my website. You can feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to help. And I think that lady that emailed you about her organization, I'll come down and speak to your organization too.
Yes. Be ready. All right, so do enjoy the rest of our interesting lineup for you. Bye-bye.